Hey everybody, it's Eric from EPautos.com, your libertarian car guy. Had a couple of thoughts this morning I thought I'd take the time to put into the audio format. And the first has to do with the article I published a few hours ago that's up on the site, The Champions of Diversity. That's the title of an article published by Automotive News, which at one time was a trade publication, and what that meant was that it published articles about what's going on in the vehicle manufacturing industry. It was very cut and dry at one time. It was just, hey, GM's doing that, Ford's doing this. It didn't offer any editorializing or commentary. Well, what's it offering now? It's offering profiles of the champions of diversity, and basically the piece is all about DEI hires and how wonderful it is that the industry now is focusing so intently on what's between people's legs, what they do with what's between their legs, what color their skin is, and things of that nature that have nothing to do with competence, which is now secondary if it means hiring a white straight guy. Can't have too many more of those. That's not very diverse. So, you have to put them at the back of the line and put people who have different equipment and use it differently at the head of the line. And it's just become so insufferable. When I was writing the article, I ended up using a few profanities, which I try really hard not to do because I feel as though that's kind of the exasperated cry of somebody who's run out of arguments. And I don't feel that's the case in my case. I think it is just a case of being really fed up with this woke mind virus, as Elon Musk rightly calls it. I disagree with Musk on many, many things, but he's absolutely right when he talks about this woke mind virus. When you're driving your car, what do you care about? That it works? That it's reliable? When you get into an airplane and the thing rolls down the runway and takes you up to 35,000 feet and it's moving at 300 or 400 miles an hour, what do you care about? Well, you care about that it doesn't fall out of the sky. I don't think you care about the genitalia or the color of the person who was hired to design some key critical component, and you shouldn't. The only thing that ought to matter is competence. Can you do the freaking job? Do you have the background, the training, the experience to do it well, period? At one time, that was the criteria even in journalism. When I was hired for my first writing gig, it was, well, can you write? Can you competently go cover a story as a reporter and get the facts straight? And if I couldn't have done that, if I was unable to turn in copy that was coherent, that summarized all of the pertinent facts in an intelligible way, I wouldn't have been working as a reporter. I would have been fired. They would have said, you're just not right for this job. Maybe you should try some other line of work. Now people get hired because they're female, or they're gay, or they're of color, except one color. And all of these other considerations don't matter. And again, I can speak to this from personal experience. When I worked at the Washington Times, to give you an idea of how far back this disease process goes, there was a woman on the editorial page staff, and I won't mention her name because I'm not in the business of disparaging people personally unless it's appropriate, but nice enough lady, but she was a very poor writer. Her copy had to be regularly rewritten in toto because she was not a good writer. She wasn't a competent writer. Well, she eventually got promoted to be the editorial page editor, if you can imagine that. And the only reason that happened is because she happened to be the right color, the right sex. I hate that word gender, and I'll rant about that another time. And that's it. I would never have been promoted to that position if I had produced the sort of copy that she had produced, because a different standard applies. I would have been expected to be competent. God, I miss those days. At any rate, if you're interested in more about that, it's up at EPautos.com. And the other thing, and I'll be brief, I haven't yet written about this, but I'm planning to. A lot of us who are car people are nostalgic for some of the old car commercials because they were just funny, even if they were very cheesy. The classic example being the notorious Chrysler Cordoba commercial that was done by Ricardo Montalban back in 1975 when that car was introduced. And, one of the things that occurred to me, I was thinking about it the other day, is that in the course of that whole commercial and all of the subsequent commercials that he did, and commercials generally for cars at that time, you didn't hear about safety it was assumed that the vehicle was safe to drive and that it wasn't something that was uncontrollable or handled erratically and was likely to crash, which is, to me, that's what safety means. A Volkswagen Beetle from back in the day wasn't a car that was uncontrollable or likely to crash, and millions of people drove it without crashing, but it would be considered unsafe because it doesn't comply with today's latest regulatory folderol. And to really put this into fine relief so that you understand what I'm talking about, a 10-year-old Mercedes S-Class would be considered unsafe, just in terms of not being compliant with all of the latest federal motor vehicle safety standards. Now, which would you rather be in, a 10-year-old Mercedes S-Class or a 2024 subcompact of some kind? Pile drive the two together and see who is safer on the inside. Anyway, I'm going to write about that over at EPautos.com, so stay tuned for that. I'll be on Bill Meyer's show per usual tomorrow at about 9:30, and then this coming Saturday, I think, and I don't remember exactly what time, but I think it's 10 or 11, Jason Barker of Knights of the Storm has asked me to be a guest on their program, so I'll be on that show this coming Saturday, and that rounds out all I've got for now. Thanks as always for listening, and if you like my rants and if you like my articles, please encourage other people to check them out, give me a recommend, and we'll have more for you again soon.